Welcome to Adventures in Photography. My name is Stanley Earl Conrad. This series of tutorials in Photoshop will demonstrate how to make good photographs into great photographs. This is a comprehensive tutorial on sharpening. We will be using two types of sharpening. We will use the unsharp mask filter and we will use the high pass filter. Sharpening can be done two ways. You can use global sharpening, which sharpens the entire image, or you can use targeted sharpening, which sharpens only those areas that you want sharpened. The first thing we're going to do is create a pair of actions. An action is a Photoshop method of recording steps that can be implemented by a single keystroke from the keyboard. The first action we're going to create will be using the unsharp mask filter in the luminosity blend mode. Using the luminosity blend mode helps to reduce the halos found in sharpening by sharpening only the detail as opposed to the colors. Now we'll record the action. Go up to the window menu, drop down to actions, come down to this little icon right here to the left of the trash can. Up here now we're going to type in a name in the name section. Let's type in luminosity sharpen. Come down to the function key and I'm going to choose F11. If you're on a Macintosh, you're probably going to have to see what function keys are available, but in a PC, F11 works just fine. Now we're going to record the action. Do a Control J to duplicate the background layer. Go up to the filter menu, drop down to sharpen, across, and down to unsharp mask. Make sure 500 is in the amount, a radius of 1 pixel, and a threshold of 5 levels. Click OK. Immediately go up here to the edit menu, drop down to fade unsharp mask, come over to the mode window, go from normal to luminosity and click OK. The action is now done. Now we need to stop it. Go to the window menu, go to actions, and go to this little square right here on the very left side to complete the action. That is now finished. Let's test the new action we just made now. Open up the layers palette and delete layer 1, which was what we created from the action. Now as you're watching the image, press F11. Alright, the sharpening action does work. Go ahead and delete this layer and we'll prepare the image for creating the next action. In just a bit we'll create the second action called high pass filter sharpening. The reason for using two separate sharpening algorithms is that some photos will work better with one over the other, and it's a simple way to test your photo by clicking F11 for one or F12 for the other just to try them out. So here we go. Let's begin by going up to the window menu, choosing actions. Come down here to this icon just to the left of the trash can and click on that. Now we'll type a name in here. We'll call it high pass sharpen. We'll come down to the function key area and we're going to choose F12 for this one. Now if you're on a Macintosh, you'll need to check and see what function keys are available. Now we'll begin the recording process. Do a Control J to duplicate the background layer. Go up to the filter menu, come down to other, go across and down to high pass. Set the radius of pixels to 6.0, click OK. Go to the edit menu, come to fade high pass, and in the mode window go down to hard light and click OK. That's the end. Now we need to end the action. We'll go to window, actions, and we'll click this little square right here to end the action. Now let's test this action. Go up to the layers palette, delete the layer right here that was made by creating the action, and watch the bird while hitting F12. Alright, the action works just fine. Go ahead and delete the layer and we'll move on to the next part. Both of these actions we've created do global sharpening. What we're going to learn next is how to do targeted sharpening, or sharpening just those areas that you want to be sharp. Alright, the first thing we're going to want to do is hit the F11 key to set the luminosity sharpening layer working. Now hit the D key on the keyboard to make your background colors black and white. Hit the X key on the keyboard to set white as the foreground color. Select the brush tool, go up and make a soft brush. Make sure that you have 100% opacity. Go back over to the layers palette and open it. Hold down the Alt key and click on the mask icon right here. That puts a black layer mask on the sharpening layer and will not allow any sharpening anywhere until we paint it with a white brush, which is what we're going to do right now. What we're going to do now is raise up the image in magnification so we can see what we're doing. We're going to take our brush and we're going to go along right at the inside edge of the perimeter of the bird, just like this. Now if you slip and go out like that, don't worry about it. You can just change the X key and change the foreground background color and erase that right away. Then put it back to white and just go right around, keeping the brush edge right to the inside. You don't want any slop over into the sky, so just go along like this. Now I'm going to stop the recording and finish this, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Let's take a look and see how we've done. Open the Layers palette, hold down the Alt key and click on the layer mask. Now you'll see the perimeter that we've painted in. Now the really important thing at this point is to make sure that the perimeter is sealed and it's continuous and there's no gaps in it. If you'll notice, right here is a gap, so use your brush and just seal the gap. It isn't that critical how to do it, just make sure there are no gaps. It needs to be one continuous line for the next step to work properly. So just do a quick walk around and make sure there aren't any gaps in it. Come over to here. And it looks fine. The reason for making sure the perimeter is one continuous line is that we're going to use the paint bucket here with a white foreground color here to fill in this whole area that you would have to brush in normally. So with 2 clicks, and use 2 only, you're done. Okay, the targeted sharpening of the bird has been completed. Now let's take a look and see what we can do with it. Go up here to the Layers palette, right click on the sharpening layer, click on blending options. Now watch what happens with the bird. You can take the opacity from 100% down to nothing. In other words, you can vary the sharpening anywhere from 0 to 100%. There's one more thing to do here that is a must do when you've gone to the work of sharpening this and created its own sharpening layer. Go up to the Layers palette, right click on the mask, go down to Add Mask to Selection, and you'll notice you've got the marching ants around the bird. Go up to the Select menu, come down to Save Selection, and type in something like bird, and then save it. Alright, let's take a look and see what we can do with the selection. Go up to the Select menu, drop down to Load Selection. Click this box here and find bird, and click OK. Now you'll notice the bird is selected due to the marching ants being around it. Go up to the Adjustments menu and you can pick anything here and do it, but let's pick levels just for demonstration purposes. You'll notice that you can adjust this any way you want and not affect the sky whatsoever. Not only that, any adjustment in there will work just fine. Now the other thing you can do is go to Select, Reselect, back to Select, and do Inverse. Now we're set up for the sky only. So go to the Adjustments menu, click here to get back to them, pick levels for instance, and you can play with the sky. You can do anything you want here. So this system will work well for everything. Now here's one interesting thing. Watch this. On any adjustment on either the bird or the sky, you can right click on its layer, click blending options, and you can control the strength of what you've done from 1 to 100%. This works out quite well. To sum up, let's take a look at the difference between global and targeted sharpening. What we're looking at here is the bill of the pelican magnified to 400%. We'll open up the Layers palette and you're looking at this unsharpened. Here's what it looks like with targeted sharpening. You can see that the sharpening doesn't affect the sky whatsoever. Now we'll turn on global sharpening. You'll notice that the sky is full of artifacts. There is a black line floating around the white object here and a white line going around the areas of the darker objects. So clearly global sharpening is not the way to go if you have a choice.